Greetings, everyone. This is Shreejan Sita, yoga director at Sri Jasnath Asan, which is a desert ashram in northern Rajasthan up by the Pakistan border. I'm very happy to come to you today with a message about Jasnathi Mela. My blessings and thank you very much to Surajnathji, Surajnath for allowing me to speak to all the disciples today. In India, especially in the Marwar region of northwestern India, it is a very special month right now of Bhadrapad, when holy people come in from all regions of the Marwari Valley to come together to meditate and learn and talk about current times, to talk about solutions, to eat together, chant together, just be together these 2 weeks before the autumn equinox, when this 2 times we have equinox, and this one time the sun will be exactly over the equator, making day and night equal. So it's a moment of contemplation before we transition. So we'll talk more about that in my next satsang. But right now I wanted to talk to you about the purpose of coming together as a community out in nature, especially there at the ashram. I'm coming to you from southwestern Michigan right now. I was repatriated to the United States in September of 2020 because of the pandemic, but I still serve the community of the Jasnath ashram in terms of helping them put programs together and bring the message of nature to the rest of the world. Sri Jasnath Asan means place, just like asana, posture. It means ashram. Sri Jasnath Asan is one of those holy places that for the last 500 years holy people have been coming together to just be together. And that accumulation of those kinds of communities has made the ashram a vortex of healing energy. It is the oldest educational institution in that region, and it is the only existing yoga therapy ashram, I believe, as old as it is, in all of India. It has been nothing since its inception except a yoga therapy institution. And I'm happy to say that I was educated there. I've been a yoga therapist for 35 years, but I really became a good therapist while working in the clinic there next to Guruji. Today, the Jasnath founder, Jasnath, the founder of the community, was a boy, age 12, who left his home to go out into the desert and meditate under a tree for 10 years. And all of those lessons that he learned from the sand dunes, from the wind, from the sun, from the trees, from the birds, all of those lessons, he then began to give to the people in the form of long sutras, which he were eventually saying in groups. And those lessons have lasted since his birth, and now there are 700,000 followers of this sacred nature community. And Guruji Surajnath Sid is the current sitting guru and the head teacher. There are very few cultures in our world today that work as hard as the Jasnathis do to retain the intimate connection between humans and the earth, between human life and natural life. And many of you, upon witnessing an awe-inspiring sunrise or a vantage point from the top of a mountain, or and the intense energy coming off the ocean as you stand and watch it with your feet buried in the sand, you feel this intense blissfulness in your heart region that defies words. It's a connection to something that's larger than you, and yet your relevance to everything is instantly known. Some people use the word bliss or connectedness, but you witness the 5 elements of our world coming together in a conglomeration or even a conspiracy to give you that moment of connectedness. And then hopefully your next thought is, oh my, the same elements comprise me. And the elements that comprise me are communicating with the elements that comprise that ocean. They are the same elements. Trying to describe this intimacy and the dependency that we have on the natural world around us, it escapes us. And this is because words are a product of human evolution, a result of our intellectualism. Intellect is about our humanness. It's about being human. The more we evolve intellectually, the more complicated our language gets, the more complicated our research gets, the more complicated we see the world, and more nuances of the world become known to us. And this is good. This is human evolution. It helps us to learn how to relate to each other, how to love each other, how to not be hurt by each other. But at the same pace this is happening, we are slowly losing our intimate relationship with the natural world around us. Not just the trees, but also our inner nature. While learning how our brain works and seeking ways to improve it, we begin to ignore how our gut works. For instance, now scientists have confirmed what Ayurvedic physicians knew thousands of years ago. The gut is the site of the manufacturing of the cells of our immune system. So it's not surprising that people with a mental imbalance are also going to be experiencing disturbances in their GI tract. So after a century or more centuries and millennium of this pursuit of intellectual prowess, intellectual development, we have these big fat brains that we know about, and we are beginning to see the problems in that. Ego is beginning to take over, and we want more. We want to have more. We want to do more. And now we're surrounded and experiencing a world overtaken by so much man-made material that we're deprived of any normal relationship with Earth and her bounty. You can challenge yourself for 1 hour today and document or make a list or just a tick for every man-made interchange your mind, your five senses make. Use all of your five senses, your sight, sound, taste, touch. Make a note of all of the man-made interchanges you have, such as right now, you and your computer, there's one. And then make a note of all of the natural connections that you make. How many times you see a tree, how many times you hear a bird, how many times you stop and feel water coming across your fingertips. Even on our plates, we are now seeing more and more man-made food devoid of nutrient and the life force. Long ago, we recognized the dependency that we have on a healthy environment, and because of that, we grew up as humans giving thanks and praise to it. People praised the sun and the rain. They sang to the mountains, and they wrote poems to trees and to lightning. This is true affection for the Great Ma, and for anyone. If you wrote a poem to someone from your heart, what a great gift that is. That would change how they behave toward you, how they feel about you. The fruitful basin in which we have been entrusted by the Great Ma, the Creator, Bhumi, we are not showing deference. In fact, we are destroying it. In the Marwar region at Sri Jasnath, Asan, we still do sing praise to the Great Ma, to nature in all of her forms, including the nature within you. To live according to your nature is a lot less work and stress than trying to align yourself with the whim of a man, another person, on their base instincts or their agenda for you, which are always going to be fleeting and flittering somewhere around the edge of greediness and laziness, but always about attachments and usefulness, making people useful, making objects useful. Useful for what? For the profit of someone else. I ask you again to begin to marry the sacred to the secular, as our seva do, our volunteers who come to the ashram many a day, especially in the morning, to begin their sweeping. They show up very early in the morning. They pick up their 24-inch broom and they bend over at the waist. Left hand goes behind their back and they begin their mantra as they sweep. This is their worship. It is also pragmatic. We get the sweeping done. But in their prayers, the men and the women who pick up these 12, 15 brooms and sweep the entire ashram in a form of karma yoga and bhakti yoga, they are showing deference and celebration that they can still bend and carry their torso through the ashram as they sweep. They're bowing their heads to Mother Earth as they clean her, comb her hair, sweep her face clean. And when they're finished, the place is clean and their hearts are empty of any of the troubles they arrived with. Then they go to work in the garden. They take their baskets in and they remove the weeds and they nurture the soil. And then they pick the fruit and veg, whatever has grown, and they praise those fruit and veg as they put them in the basket, just as you would praise any baby in a mother's arms. You wouldn't ignore the baby. You would say, "What a beautiful baby. Congratulations." And our seva do the same. And they carry the bag of fruit or basket of fruit into Guruji to show him the amazing things that the garden has produced, and they receive his blessing. And the vegetable and fruits then go to the kitchen where the chef produces hundreds of meals that will feed the bellies of the visitors and the travelers as we're mandated to do. But before we eat, we always say a prayer thanking everything and everyone who had anything to do with bringing this magic to our thali, to our plate. The purpose of the entire universe plays out in many ways all around us, including when this meal enters the stomach. The attraction between the atoms of the food finds a long-lost lover in the receptive cells of our tissues and our bones. They're united once again in the production of life, making your body, the small self, as strong as any man-made temple, receptive to the great self, so that one day with practice and study and surrender, the small self and the great self can reunite. We practice this unification daily with our eating, but also with talking with others, being with others, but much less these days by communing with the trees and the oceans, the desert dunes and the animals. To see the bug on your patio as a long-lost lover is a big ask, I know. But I guarantee, in proposing this simple match, by sitting and staring longingly at its feet and its wings and its antennae, you will observe the whole universe betwixt and between you both. And eventually, if you stare at each other long enough, it will be revealed that you are both actually holding up the stage of life as well. So instead of trying to control Mother Nature, or Bhumi, let's see if heightened health might come from showing her deference by admitting your humbleness and admiring and thanking her great many offspring. I wish you a joyful 2 weeks preparation as we approach the autumn solstice. And if you would like to contribute something small to the ashram to help keep the lights on and the small family working to provide hospitality to the hundreds of guests who come each week, message me in the comments section and I'll get you in touch with either myself or Guruji. He'll be happy to hear from you. And I look forward to practicing with you one day. Om Shanti and Prem. Namaste.